Jacques Cousteau called the Gulf of California the aquarium of the world. Vibrant coasts, highly diverse marine fauna and bizarre landscapes all in northwestern Mexico. There are also diverse islands, a miniature ocean with breathtaking marine life. It is a journey into one of the richest waters on our planet. The bay begins just over the border with the United States, where the Gulf of California lies between the Mexican mainland and the world's second largest peninsula, Baja California. On the mainland side are the states of Sonora and Sinaloa, home to many of Mexico's indigenous peoples who live in harmony with nature. The Gulf encloses one of the youngest maritime bodies of water on our planet. It is home to more than 170 species of seabirds and over 700 different species of fish. Its shores are home to people dedicated to living off and with the Gulf's bounty. Large schools of dolphins frolic in the Gulf's marine sanctuaries, and many species of sea turtles migrate through its waters. The smallest pearl farm in the world is located just outside Guaymas in Bacochibampo Bay. Early in the morning, in the small town of Bahia de Quino, Cosme Damian Becerra loves to go to the water before his daily work, when the streets are still empty. The former fisherman has lived on the Gulf of California all his life. One marine animal is now particularly close to his heart: the Golfina sea turtle.
We have recognized that they have been around for thousands of years and are becoming fewer and fewer. We must protect them now to ensure their continued existence.
For decades, the turtles ended up as bycatch in fishing nets. For the fishermen, this was an opportunity to add value to the catch. But Cosme and his family are doing something about it. They joined an organization to protect sea turtles, the Grupo Tortuguero.
There are a number of stories around that say the turtles supposedly saved us financially. When all of a sudden you have a turtle as a bycatch, and you sell it for a quick buck. But it was just dead turtles that ended up in the net, drowned. Well, now it's the other way around. Then they helped us, now we can help them.
The turtle conservationists will drive about an hour and a half out to Isla San Pedro Mata today. The uninhabited island is comparatively isolated in the middle of the Gulf of California. It is home to the world's largest nesting colonies of blue-footed boobies. The biodiversity around the island is huge. In addition to seals, sea turtles can also be found here. Cosme hopes to catch a few of the golfinas with his bare hands.
We go in here, one here and the other there, and we're looking to catch a turtle. Yes, sometimes we catch them while they are swimming, but we have to hold on to them for a while so they get used to us. We are on the farthest ocean island in the Gulf, and it is an area where sea lions raise their young. The challenge is that suddenly a shark could come along wanting to eat a sea lion and mistake us for one of them. Are we ready, Marie? Okay.
The island is protected and may not be entered, so Cosme has to swim after the turtles in the water to catch them.
If we look closely, we see how charismatic they are. Not aggressive, really harmless. But that also makes them vulnerable and easy to catch. Sometimes we think that our work could be dangerous for them because we publish our results, everything, where we register them, etc., so that everyone knows that they exist and that they need to be protected. But by doing so, we also reveal information that could attract illegal fishermen, which we hope is not the case.
Cosme manages and grabs a turtle from behind. Now it's just a matter of hoisting it onto the boat to take its measurements. Monitoring sea turtle populations, which also serves environmental education and awareness, is the main task of the Grupo Tortuguero organization. The olive ridley turtle, or golfina, is one of the smallest species of sea turtle and is found in tropical and subtropical waters worldwide. Today, they caught only 2.
When it's cold, they're also very slow because they're cold-blooded. Then they hang like that, but not now. They're very fast and they'll drive you up.
Mexico is a well-known nesting and feeding area for sea turtles. Cosme and his family also take care of the so-called black turtle, the Tortuga negra. It likes to cavort here in the Bahia de Quino, an important ecosystem for the turtle.
Black turtles especially use the entire coastal lagoon and estuary for feeding. So here in the bay, yes, to get to the lagoon, they have to go through the front, where it is full of nets and other fishing gear. At the beginning of the year, the ban on manta fishing was lifted, and since then, much more bycatch goes into the individual nets. We had about 10 dead turtles in fishermen's nets.
The crew themselves also put meter-long nets in the bay to intercept the turtles. This, however, with full intention and with caution.
We wait until a turtle goes into the net. We have to keep an eye on the whole net, because if it gets caught and wants to free itself, it panics. It gets really stressed. And we don't want that, so we bring it in immediately. Once we captured a whole 28. And I think this year, oh, did you see? 1 turtle. Today is a record-breaking day.
Cosme's daughter, Maribel, has discovered that a turtle has gone into the net. Now it has to be freed quickly and brought into the boat. Not so easy with a weight of between 30 and 40 kilos.
We have had turtles with fibropapillomas, which are skin growths. They're like broccoli that sticks to the turtle skin. It sprouts and sometimes blood comes. This is a sign of contamination of the water the turtles have been in, so it's advisable to wear gloves and not touch the turtles with your hands.
The Tortuga Negra often migrates along the coasts and can cover hundreds of kilometers in a year as it moves between feeding and nesting areas. Grupo Tortuguero records their migration data and researches their behavior. This is enormously important for developing conservation strategies and measures to improve the turtles' situation. To carry out the measurements, the group heads for one of the sandbanks. It is a little stressful for the animals, but none of them are injured. A cloth over the head for reassurance and a little cooling before the turtle is officially recorded.
We now measure once lengthwise, and that is 64.5 centimeters. And the width is 51. And then we have this spot here, which is like our ear. We'll put a marker there that grows with it, because it's a young animal.
The young animal weighs 38 kilograms. It is given the name Hannah and a serial number before it is allowed to return to the ocean. The Gulf of California is a unique region with rich marine fauna, but marine life is not only threatened directly by fishing, but also indirectly by nets left behind. So-called ghost nets, which are lost or intentionally left behind in the sea. The local organisation CRIFS works with volunteers to get these nets out of the sea. Led by veterinarian Elsa Correa, the group is on the move along the San Carlos coast.
The Gulf of California is considered one of the most important marine areas in the world because it's home to a wide variety of species. We used to see a large number of animals every time we went out on the boat. Over the years, we've noticed how it has decreased. And unfortunately, today, it's not as easy to observe as many animals as it was back then.
With her work, Elsa wants to counteract this decline in marine diversity.
Often the nets break. Something tears off or the whole net is lost, and then they remain on the seabed or are carried on by the current until they get caught on rocks along the coasts. Finding these nets is very important to prevent marine animals from getting caught in them.
Elsa and her team have received word that a few nets have been spotted in this bay. The challenge now is to find them. Volunteers from all over the world are supporting them.
At the beginning, we are going to start, Eduardo and myself, snorkeling, searching the area. And then if we saw something, we are going to give you the sign up. We can talk with you to start to dive. If you can be prepared in case that we find the net. Estaba muy pequeña. Estaba segura que quería.
When I was little, I already knew that this is what I wanted to do. Help animals that for some reason cannot be free and live in their natural habitat. This is something that gives me great joy. It makes me happy when I see them freed.
The search begins. It is a large area that they are searching. And then a very fine fishing net can be seen. Now the divers have to get to it.
We saw something that could be a net. So it's in the middle of this rock. I will ask you go down and check. We need more information if we can remove like pulling, or we need cut in small pieces. So I will ask you go down and check.
Thank you. Sounds good. Awesome.
Only with compressed air bottle the helpers have the necessary rest and time to find the nets. When fish become entangled in ghost nets, they are unable to move freely to seek food. This often leads to significant stress, injury, or even death by starvation. In fact, some fish have become entangled. With the utmost care, they must now be freed and the fine net removed as completely as possible from the sea.
Quite often we find the fish already dead in the nets, often even decomposed. But in this case, they were still alive. If we can free them, then it's very satisfying, because we know they returned to freedom. And it's very sad when they are already dead.
For today, the Ghost Network project has successfully ended. But Elsa's non-profit organisation CRIFS has other tasks. On land, they have a reception centre for injured or lost animals. A small injured tortoise was pressed into Elsa's hands on the beach. The veterinarian hung up her lucrative job as a veterinarian in private practice to realise her dream.
I think we're at a turning point now, and that's exciting. Years ago, there was a lack of awareness. We encountered many people who didn't take our work seriously. They even made fun of our work.
Today, she has her own property and 2 female employees. Diana is already waiting for the new arrival.
Look, they reported that a couple of stray dogs were playing with this little turtle. They bit the shell. See if she has any other injuries.
Okay.
Often you forget that you're tired, that you haven't eaten, that you haven't drunk enough water. But then to see the animals struggling to recover, that's what gives me the drive to keep going.
both children and Elsa's husband are involved with the work of CRIFS.
We made the difficult decision that I should quit my paid job and my husband should support the family alone with his salary. So, since 2019, I have been devoting myself 100% to the organization.
Elsa has no regular income. It is only through donations that she can save, rehabilitate, and reintroduce wild animals to nature, like these pelicans, for example.
We have raised them, and as you can see, they are now juveniles. They can already fly well and have also already practiced hunting. Today is a special day because we'll release them into the wild and also check their behavior in nature.
Y vamos a evaluar cómo se comportan en la naturaleza. Obviamente uno se encariña de verlos.
Of course, you take them into your heart when you raise them, but we know that their place is outside in nature. They have a job there, to occupy a place.
The brown pelican, or marine pelican, is a protected species in Mexico. It is one of the 2 pelican species that are exclusively native to marine waters. In Mexico, these birds are a symbol of a healthy coastal and marine environment.
My vision is that veterinarians not only receive patients and collect money for it, but that they do something for the environment, make a contribution, that society understands this. We still have to work on that.
Algo que todavía cuesta trabajo que la sociedad comprenda.
Elsa, Diana, and Eduardo have been waiting for this moment for a long time, and now it's time for the pelicans to dare, to fly to freedom again.
Welcome to the world. I'm very happy. I was very happy when they finally flew. Yes, nature calls them. This is a satisfaction that nothing can replace. All the effort, all the hours. The whole team worked for this. And this is what really rewards us.
The waters of the Gulf of California are home to an impressive diversity of fish species. With more than 700 genera counted, this marginal sea is one of the most remarkable marine ecosystems in the world. Many of the species are exclusive to this region, and nearly 1/3 of the world's marine mammals live here. The spotted eagle ray, on the other hand, seen here gliding through the water with a passenger, is found in many tropical waters. It can grow up to 3.30 meters long with its whip-like tail. In the Bay of Bacochibampo, there is an extraordinary underwater breeding facility. Here, Enrique Castillo and Manuel Navarromo run the smallest pearl farm in the world. Pearls have always held a fascination for people. The 2 friends have been cultivating the pearls in the Gulf of California since 1993. On the Sonora coast, they are known for their sustainable farming methods. The oysters are kept in very special areas in the water.
When we started with the pearls, it was like going down on the Nautilus, 20,000 leagues under the sea. The Underwater Voyage, where the captain had a collection of all the pearls in the world, from all seas and in all colors. It was so fascinating, and still is today.
The oysters in which the pearls grow are kept in special shellfish beds or baskets attached to buoys in the water to protect them from predators, currents, and other environmental factors.
Each line has different oysters. We have the number of rows, and we know what batches we have in each row. So it's like a control, like a matrix of information, let's say. In this row, we have 5. In the middle, we have this, and so on and so forth.
Every year before the first harvest, they give an offering to the sea.
This place was very important for the indigenous people of the region, the Seris and the Yaquis. They considered this bay a magical place.
In the ancient tradition, it is a ritual thanksgiving to the sea gods or to the sea itself for the gift of pearls, with the request for protection and blessings for the upcoming harvest.
The harvest is the crowning moment, the moment when the fruits of the efforts, patience, and commitment of many people over 4 years are gathered. Now, I give the pearls an offering.
This is a special moment for all employees of the Pearl Farm. The oysters are regularly monitored, taken out of the water and cared for to ensure they have optimal conditions for pearl growth.
It kept improving. In the first years, we had a 5% success rate. Out of 100 oysters, 5 gave a pearl. Now we're at about 30. The percentage has gradually increased. We don't understand and know everything well enough yet to say that every implant produces a pearl, but we are much better at it than we were at the beginning.
On the shore, each individual oyster must be cleaned by hand. They are freed from algae and other organisms to guarantee that they can absorb sufficient nutrients. The growers also inspect them for diseases and parasites in the process.
Every 2 months, we have to clean 200,000 oysters, plus the baskets of the breeding lines. You have to maintain the buoys and so on. So that's a lot of work. If we fall behind with care by just 1 week, they can all die. So you have to be constantly on guard.
Pearl farming in the Gulf of California is subject to strict environmental regulations to protect sensitive marine ecosystems. The native Akoya oyster is used for elaborate pearl farming. During regular harvesting, the oysters are also repeatedly sorted by size. For the pearl formation process, a small foreign body, usually a ball of nacre, has been inserted into the soft tissue of the oyster. This foreign body is called a nucleus and serves to initiate pearl formation. It takes an average of 4 years for the pearl to grow large enough to be removed. This is usually done by opening the shells manually or with special equipment. Enrique and Manuel open the first oysters of the season by hand.
The first time a single pearl came out, there were 3 of us. Douglas, Manuel and I, we were sitting together, and we had a bucket in the middle where we put the oysters that we had checked. And all of a sudden, a pearl fell between the 3 of us.
Nobody knew who it belonged to.
And the scramble started. It's mine, I just opened one, I was just looking for one. And well, it was an argument that went on for years and was never resolved. Nobody backed down. We still don't know who pulled out the first pearl.
And there is the first pearl of this season, above average size.
Almost 11 millimeters.
We use these cores. We put them together with a piece of the tissue that makes up the oyster shell. The tissue then survives along with the core, grows around it, and begins to coat it with nacre. 2 years later, the nacre is thick enough to be considered a good quality pearl.
On the premises of their company, right on the waterfront, there is also a sales and showroom. Enrique and Manuel work with local artisans and goldsmiths. However, before the pearls are processed further, they have to pass a special quality control. Not all cultured pearls are perfectly round and uniform in size and shape. Their value is often determined by texture, color, and brilliance.
We must always make sure that pearls like these are sorted out in the series here. They cannot be sold elsewhere, unless we decide that they are of sufficient quality after all.
The remaining imperfect pearls are set aside as offerings for demonstration purposes or for a special sale.
Most people who buy pearls here buy them not only for their beauty, but also because they then feel part of conservation efforts. Some also then feel part of national efforts to recover something that has been lost. Others feel they are helping the community, giving people a dignified place to work, and so on and so forth. So the emotions that a farm like this elicits can come in many different ways.
Pueden llegar por muchos caminos, ¿no?
Pearls from the Gulf of California are part of Mexico's cultural heritage, its cultural identity.
For me, the Gulf of California is not only the place where I feed my family, but also a place where I can discover everything that has to do with marine life, with fauna, with landscapes. That's the motive. That's the driving force.
The challenge is to protect them.
In the depths of the Gulf are many schools of fish species, such as mackerel and sardine. Shoaling fish are important components of the Gulf of California marine ecosystem and play an important role in the region's food chain. The subtropical climate and large number of plankton species help them thrive and prosper here. Kilometers south of Guaymas, 60 kilometers west of the Sonora coast, is the island of Isla Huivulay. It is considered the sacred island of the indigenous Mayo people who live mainly in the region of Sinaloa and Sonora. Lola Nieblas is a Mayo and lives here right on the coast overlooking the island.
I belong to a fisherman cooperative that catches crabs. The cooperative is interested in preserving the bay because it depends on it, and on the island because it has been there for us and has fed us all our lives. We always lived here. We lived from fishing. My father, my grandparents, my ancestors have already dedicated themselves to it.
Mi papá, mis abuelos, mis antepasados se dedicaron a ello.
Lola lives in the Paredon, Colorado, a remote, dangerous and undeveloped area. She lives with her daughter and father in a simple house. Mayo society is traditionally organized into clans or families led by a council of elders. These clans are often closely associated with specific areas or villages.
There was a time when I really thought about leaving, but I can't leave here, even if I wanted to. I can't because of my daughter, my family. I wanted to go to Mexico City. Not anymore.
Lola has to take care of her father, an old Mayo leader, in addition to her daughter. The roles in the social structures of the Mayo communities are strictly regulated. She can enjoy her many pets.
Cats and dogs. I just love them. My mother always told us not to kick them because it brings bad luck. I grew up with older people who always said that the animals would give their lives for us and that we shouldn't kick them.
In their own language, they call themselves the Mayo Yoreme. The term Mayo means the people on the riverbank. Several families living close to each other form villages or communities. The traditional activities of the village give them feelings of belonging, cooperation, protection, and integration. With her friend Griselda Mendoza, Lola goes to her job on Huevulay Island.
She is part of us because she takes care of us. She protects us from natural disasters, from hurricanes. She's a sandbank that has shielded us in some situations. Before the storm could hit us, it hit the islands. It would have hit us hard otherwise.
Buffalo grass, an invasive plant species, makes life difficult for the mostly tropical vegetation that is usually found here.
It's an exotic plant that originated in Africa. Cattle ranchers have introduced it as a forage grass. It's very harmful because in the protected areas it strongly affects the ecosystem.
The community pays the young women a small salary for their work in the nature reserve. It is arduous work in scorching heat.
These are the seedlings that are growing now. Experts tell us that we need to take them out before the rains come, because when the rains come, they start to sprout, and everything starts to spread. Most of us in the group are women. We support the men. They fish. We're a help to them. There are times when sometimes the fishermen don't go fishing for a week because of bad weather. Then we are there to save them with our extra income. Buffalo grass is a predator of native plants. It has solid roots. It's bushy. All the plants there on the island have widespread roots because there's a lot of space in the sand. When I think about my daughter's future, I know that we have to take care of the island. Otherwise, it will disappear.
Nature here is still largely unpolluted and provides a breeding ground for many birds. Huivulai means long neck in the Mayo language. The island is 17 kilometers long and 1.2 kilometers wide. Lola and Griselda still go to the other end of the island to greet St. Carmen, a ritual that is supposed to ensure a successful fishing season.
She's the patron saint of fishermen. We do it mostly to make sure fishermen are doing well when shrimp season starts.
The Mayo have a religion that combines elements of their indigenous faith with Catholicism.
It's a ritual that the Mayo have always celebrated, especially on July 16th. On July 16th, Catholics celebrate the Feast of Mary. Their own religious practices, rituals and celebrations are closely linked to their culture, their history, and especially to nature. I believe in goodness, in magic, in witchcraft. I believe in it. But I also believe in nature, which heals everything. That it's better to drink teas or prepare something from nature than to take pills, antibiotics, and things like that. Because nature itself has remedies for everything. Far to the south of the coast lies Mazatlan in the state of Sinaloa. The city is an important port, industrial and fishing center. Because of its location and global trade, immigrants from all over the world have settled here. Off the bay, which has the second longest boardwalk in all of America, the Gulf of California meets the Pacific Ocean. Oscar Guzan was inspired by the proximity of so much ocean.
My work has always focused on marine life, on its monitoring and exploration. And I have achieved this by combining ecotourism with this monitoring activity.
Oscar first started with whale watching, and gradually more and more ideas and projects were added. Also research projects or diving excursions in the Gulf of California. His vision got the name Onca Explorations.
Onca is actually not a marine term. It's the scientific name of the Mexican jaguar. The idea I had back then, around 2005, when I started thinking about this whole project, was to start a safari company. Of course, here we are not in Africa, but Mexico is the country with the 5th largest biodiversity in the world.
México es el 5º lugar en biodiversidad mundial. Venga, entonces, a ver, este es para ti.
This morning, Oscar has a group of tourists who would like to see dolphins off the coast.
My biggest challenge today is to find the dolphins. There are many dolphins, but finding them takes time and effort. So you have to look for them along the way. That's why we have guides and a crew to help us find them.
Oscar wants to build a network of local fishermen, marine researchers and like-minded people dedicated to marine biodiversity in the waters off Mazatlan. So he collaborates with them on every excursion.
Here, there are huge amounts of marine fauna and flora. We are at the mouth of the Gulf of California, the Sea of Cortez, an area that is little explored. Sinaloa has 600 kilometers of coastline. In Mazatlan alone, there are 60 kilometers of the municipality, 1,000 square meters of ocean right in front of us. And there hasn't been a single major program to monitor marine life. I just got a report from a friend that a tuna boat is about 15 miles out that way, and that they just saw a group of large dolphins, more or less in that area. Since we got the report about 15 minutes ago, we may have to go out further. We're not in sight yet.
At least they found the so-called tuna hunter.
This fish corridor that we have on the coast is a very important migratory corridor. Because of that, there is so much life that the human activities are extremely intense. We have the largest fishing fleets here for tuna, for shrimp and shrimp trawling, for example.
Helicopters allow fishermen to search for schools of tuna at a greater range. Oscar's team can't use them, but suddenly they find a whale carcass in the open sea. Sometimes whales die due to age or injury and then float on the sea. In any case, a very unusual sight. Such a huge food source attracts many birds and fish, including sharks. For Oscar and his fellow passengers, it is an opportunity to explore the activities underwater. Sometimes human impact also causes a whale to die.
If balance has been lost, one reason is that we may not have understood in detail how we are connected to these cycles and resources. This is nothing new. It's happening all over the planet. Here, at the local level, we see these imbalances as well. We see, for example, when whales get caught in the nets, which is a serious problem.
Cuando las ballenas se enmayan en las redes, por ejemplo, que es un problema serio, ¿no?
But a dead whale weighing several tons does make an impression.
Definitivamente es algo único, ¿no?
In any case, it is something unique.
Pues de algún modo, como lo vimos ayer en las boyas, también crean oasis de vida.
Dead animals in the sea also create new life. There were
dolphins.
¿Lo estás viendo?
Oh, right. Dolphins. Where are they?
A school of dolphins suddenly swims alongside the boat. The Gulf of California is home to a variety of dolphin species that live in groups or so-called schools. The size of the group depends on the dolphin species or its behavior. In this case, there are hundreds of bottlenose dolphins.
Delfines están todo el año.
Dolphins are around all year round. For me, they have always had a special place in my heart and mind because they are a very charismatic species. I love being in the water with them, seeing them. They reflect a lot of happiness. They give off a lot of life energy.
Energía vital, eso.
With this feeling of happiness, Oscar drives back to Mazatlan. Here he ends the day with his children and tells them about his experiences at sea.
That's the magic for me. It's also about giving them this opportunity to get to know the world, to explore the world and to help them know what they want to do someday. They say they want to go to sea with their dad, too.
The
Gulf of California is the jewel in the crown. It is one of the most precious things this country has. It is a reservoir of incredible resources, incredible beauty, incredible people, and incredible landscapes. It must be protected.
Es que merezca ser, es que tiene que ser protegido.